All right, so we're live in pre-show, and Mike, I apologize for having you just sort of hang out there in space. Let me see if I can fix that just a little bit. Let's see, Mike hanging out in space. Oh yeah, there it is. Amazing. vMix has got a button for that. So let's move you in a little bit, and we'll blow you up a little bit. There we go. And it's just a pre-show. I mean, it's nothing fancy. Okay, folks. Who have we got out there? Daniel's here. Daniel got his present. Was it yesterday, Daniel? Daniel had won the drawing or won the contest last week on the Streaming Idiot show. He was able to correctly name how many input categories there are in the vMix Add Input section. And then there's Michael Dawson and the Grumpy Vlogger. Grumpy Vlogger, who could that be? Oh my gosh. And Dan Slider's here, and Ken Benedict is here. Dan from Michigan, Ken from California. Rudy's here from Belgium. And Ed is here. Ed, where are you from? I forget. And then Peter is here from Germany. Is that Peter or Pater? I never get my European pronunciations correct, but I try. I do try. Y'all can say hello to Mike. He is our guest today from Event Streams. Is that right? Event Streams?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So Event Streams, okay. And he is up in Toronto. I was talking to somebody or corresponding with somebody in Toronto today. What was the name of the outfit? They were a live streaming outfit. And might be somebody you've crossed paths with. It is Tristram Clark Visual Media Services.
Clark Media Services?
Tristram Clark. Nope.
I'm not familiar with them. No.
Okay. Oh, that's right. He's not Toronto. He's St. John's. My bad. All right, Ed is in the Great Lakes state. Jamie Chavis is here. Jamie was in our vMix 101 class. Wendy's is here, a proud sponsor. Well, if you're a sponsor, that's news to me. Oh my gosh, who knows who that could possibly be? Oh my golly. Yeah, Dan, Ed is just right down the road for you. And Michael Graves says that he used to live in Toronto. And actually, my nephew is going to school there at the university. Is there a University of Toronto?
There is.
Well, that's where he's going.
School. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very good. Oh, yeah, you're getting some love for Toronto there. All right. About a minute and a half until showtime, but, you know, we'll do the best we can to get started on time. You never know. I'm so darned excited. I don't even want to talk about what we're going to talk about because I'm so excited about it, and I'll just let all the cats out of the bag here in pre-show. But Mike and his team have got this amazing software. I guess it's an app. Is that what we're calling it? An app?
It's an app. Mm-hmm.
It's an app. It's an app. It's not even full-blown software. It's just an app. but it's gonna amaze you. It amazed me. Oh my gosh! And right after getting back, what was it? I guess 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was in Amsterdam where people were speaking all sorts of languages around me, and I could not understand any of them. I mean, I could barely understand the Australians and the Brits. That was bad enough without hearing, Dutch and German and what else did I hear? Who knows? I heard Korean, a lot of Korean. That was amazing. I guess that's the big show for the Korean broadcasting community to come to. Anyway. All right, let's see. What am I missing here? For those of you that are watching us on the Streaming Idiots page, your comments will not go intentionally unnoticed, but we're not monitoring that page because vMix Social can't get it. I see Chris is there and Cameron's there, and so I'm glad you're here, but come on over to the easternshorebroadcasting.com page and click the Watch Live tab. That way you can get on the chat with everybody else. So Chris is in New Zealand. Cameron, where are you from? You're just in Maryland, Maryland, USA. I'm actually going to be up near that way in a couple of days, heading up to Charlottesville, Virginia to see my mom. So those of you on the Streaming Idiots group in Facebook, come on over. You can either come over to Facebook to the Eastern Shore Broadcasting page or come over to easternbroadcasting.com, or you can just use streamingidiots.com. That'll get you there too. But that way we can continue to follow your comments as the day goes out. You're really going to be wowed by this stuff today. It's doggone amazing. I see Maria's here. Marie can't walk because she had a run-in with an automobile. I did hear Danish, you're right, and I did hear Swedish, and you were probably responsible for both of those. Marie and John are two very good friends, Mike, that I just met for the very first time a couple of 3 weeks ago. And they are the ones that started the Streaming Idiots group on Facebook. And they said to me, do you mind? I said, no, heck no. They said, if we get lucky, we might have 50 people in the group. And I was thinking, no way. No way will you have 50. And we're about ready to break 3,000. It's been amazing. And it's just one of those things, nobody planned it. Marie and John didn't sit down and said, oh, how can we use SEO tools to help this group grow? No, it was just the right group at the right time in the right place. And I think you're in a similar position. So
I think I was one of the first 50 too.
Oh, were you? Oh, no.
I might have been.
Oh, that is
definitely
too
early
great.
days.
That is too great. All right, Dan's trying to get some sympathy for his dog because his dog's going to have knee surgery. I mean, I understand that's a pretty big deal for your animal, but, come on, Dan. Gee whiz. All right. She didn't get hit by a car. She just had difficulty with the brakes. And apparently, of the two in her family, she's the only one that speaks auto. Have you got a translator for auto that would translate stupid English into automobile English or something like that, into refrigerator repair terminology? I mean, can you do that? That's going to be a real AI thing, I think, coming up. Hold on a second. The little gizmo down here, that is the bilateral tri-bracket. Yeah, that's going to be great. Kyle's here. Byron's here. Angela was number 500. Angela is Byron's wife. He lives up in the Atlanta area. Great folks there. Otis is out in Texas. Otis has been, we've met Otis at the Streaming Idiots meetup at NAB the last couple of years. That's been a treat. And Mike, if you guys get out to NAB, you want to come to the Streaming Idiots group party. It'll be on Monday night. Since NAB starts on Sunday, we'll be on Monday night. Okay, looks like since Otis is here, we'll go ahead and get started. How about that? All right, so Mike, I'm going to mute you. I'm going to mute Mike's mic just briefly. And then, actually, before I do that, I want to make sure I can unmute you remotely. That wouldn't be very good, would it? Let's see. Is that going to mute him? No. Okay, let me fix that. 1 second here, folks. You know, you'd think this, as many times as he's been doing this show, he would have it right by now. Oh, and we've got somebody at the door. Come on in. Come on in. 1 second. Mike, please entertain everybody. I'll be right back.
Well, thanks for joining, everyone. I didn't expect Tom to leave me like this, so maybe I could do a little bit of dancing or something. But excited to talk to you all about this product. Something I've been working on for 8 months, and I think it's pretty cool.
We are online and we are on the air. This is my guest, Mike Dawson. He's up in Toronto, Canada right now.
Wow.
We'll be using this PTZ optics camera. I'll tell you what, let me pull you guys out a couple of chairs.
All right.
And the live stream is going to happen here, so I'll just perch you out of the way over here. And you can
We're all
watch.
radio guys. We're used to not being seen.
As a matter of fact, I have a face for radio.
As radio guys, you're going to be immensely disappointed. I'll see if I can't get.
Am I where you need to be?
I think that's going to put you guys in good spots if you don't mind being separated.
No, not at all. No.
It's actually better.
It's actually better. And let me see if I can get some audio without it bleeding over into my
Can I
live
walk
audio.
in front of you?
Absolutely, absolutely. We are not live on that camera very much quite yet. Okay. Just had some guests wander into the studio. It happens all the time. Glad to have you guys. And let me finish making this shortcut so that I can turn Mike's audio off and on, and we'll get started with this show. 1 second here. All right, number 63, audio. Let's edit that one. And we'll edit that. And let's see if we did it right. We're going to turn Mike's audio on and off. Perfect. Okay. All right, Mike and everybody else. Yes, please stand by. Ken says, Ken is out in California. And you can see, well, it's kind of small. But these are the folks that are watching, and these are their comments.
Okay.
Ken Benedict is out in California. He said the tour bus has arrived. So let's see who else popped in. Emerald Coast TV, that's RJ. He's over in Shalimar area. And Tim is somewhere close by. I forget. I think it may be the Dothan area. Anyway, okay. And Richard Guitarski's here, and Richard's from Sweden, so you just never know. Or is it Switzerland? Richard, I'm sorry if I've got it wrong. All right. So let's. We're going to do the intro, and then we'll get this show on the road. So everybody sit tight. We are doing intro. We're going to mute this. I didn't get here before the intro finished. Welcome to Streaming Idiots. I'm Tom Sinclair. It is a great day at Eastern Shore Broadcasting in Fairhope, Alabama. It's raining. We haven't had rain in about 7 years, so this is an amazing event. Delighted to have some guests in the studio today. We've got an amazing guest online. Really excited. Can't wait to bring our guest. I'm not going to even name him yet because I'm so excited. If I name him, then I'm probably going to spill all the beans right off the bat, and I don't want to do that. But let me say thanks for those of you that have signed up and started our vMix 101 class, the basics of live production. We had the first classes yesterday, had an afternoon class and an evening class, about 30 students between the two, so we're delighted to have you. We're going to be offering that class again probably next year, so if you're interested, make a note about it, and we'll spin it back around. And we think we're going to be offering our live vMix replay class again in January, but we're in the process of editing down the class lessons from this past class to make those available on demand. So those will be available shortly. I say shortly, you never know what shortly means. Shortly is kind of like, yeah, vMix 23 is coming out shortly. It's coming out shortly, which 2 weeks ago we thought meant 2 weeks, but it hasn't gotten here yet. So it could be any day now. We just found out yesterday that Tim from vMix, the COO at vMix, is actually going to be here in humble little Fairhope, Alabama in a couple of weeks, and might even be here as it overlaps the Streaming Idiot show. So we're really excited about that, and we'll try to coax him out from behind the camera and get him on the camera for that show. We're really looking forward to that. So 2 weeks from today, keep an eye out from Tim from vMix here on Streaming Idiots. So just bloody excited about all of this. Now, I'm going to talk about next spring. Coming up in April next year, of course, is NAB, the National Association of Broadcasters Conference in Las Vegas at the Convention Center out there. It is not too soon to be thinking about that. The hotels fill up quickly for that date, which is I think the 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th. Don't hold me to that, but it's a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in that time period. And if you're planning on going, go ahead and make your hotel reservations. Obviously, you want to make it in a way that you can get your money back if you need to, but you want to go ahead and get that done, and flight reservations too, because those prices tend to hike up. If you came to the Streaming Idiots meetup there last year or the year before, we're going to do that again this year. It'll be our fourth one, and that will be on the Monday night of NAB, and we'll have more information about that later, but I wanted to get that out there so that you can pencil it into your into your calendar, so that you don't make your reservations for a day that doesn't include a night with the Streaming Idiots out there. We had a blast out there, 100 of us on the floor of NAB. Not quite sure where we'll be next year. A brief advertisement. The Streaming Idiot show is sponsored by my company, Eastern Shore Broadcasting. We design and build live streaming PCs. We represent PTZ Optics and vMix and Ada cameras and Uon capture cards and Magewell capture cards, and probably 6 or 7 other things that I'm forgetting off the top of my head. I should have a list. You'd think I would have a list. But if we can help you with anything live streaming, that's what we do. And we do the Streaming Idiot show as a way of showing you how not to do live streaming. That's right. That's really the bottom line. All right. So enough of that idle chit chat. Let's get down into the good stuff. Somebody says there's rushing air. That's not rushing air. That's rain. That is, thank goodness it's finally raining here. And so we've got our noise filters on, but we can't filter out the noise. There's just too much rain. It makes too much noise. So you'll just have to deal with it. That's what we're dealing with it here. What else? Let's see. Is there anybody else? Yeah, he left the other mic open. That's probably what it is. We'll fix that in just a second. Actually, what it is I left the TV. I've got a 55-inch TV in front of me that is the confidence monitor and has the multi-view, and I think I may have left the audio up a tad too loud on that, but we'll square that away just momentarily. Now, enough idle. Let me introduce you to somebody who's got an app. It's not even software, it's an app, but this app could very well change your life. And you have never heard those words come out of my mouth before, but this is pretty darned amazing. Let me bring in my guest, Mike Dawson. Mike is with EventStream, and he and his team have created this app that will translate my voice into it will take my voice and do closed caption in up to 100 languages. Is that right, Mike? Do I have it right? Oh, hold on. I must have muted your audio.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. All right.
How about now?
There we go.
All right.
So
yeah, so Tom, let me just go to
closed caption.
100 plus languages in closed captioning, and just to give you some sort of backstory, I work in production, and we go and we live stream events all over Toronto and all over Canada, And for all the people who are watching, like, you know how frustrating it can be to do live captions and to do live translation for your event. You know, you need a stenographer, you need a cart machine, you need a translator, sometimes translator booths. You know, they're very expensive, these individuals. And it was always a problem that we kept coming up against, and clients kept looking at the bill that we would give them and saying, you know, this is crazy. Like, you know, and it was always stuff that we kind of contracted out. We didn't do it in-house. But these people are very expensive, you know, and in order to get it done, to get it done this way. And so we kind of thought, hey, would there be an alternate way to do this? Is there a way that we can leverage AI and machine learning in order to deliver this in a completely automated way where you don't need to hire anybody, and basically you can just use whatever amount you need and then just turn it off at the end of the day? And then instead of just having one language available, why not have 100 languages? Or, you know, and actually have the AI read the captions back to you, so that if you are somebody that's you know, speaking another language, you can actually hear the audio in your ear. And so then as we start to think about this and like what could be possible, it expanded. So it wasn't just, hey, let's do this for the live stream viewers who could watch, you know, on their web stream player, but let's also do it for people who are in the room. So if somebody's in the room and they actually want to be able to hear the speaker in a different language, they can just go to the link on their phone and then put their headphones in, and they can listen to it right there in real time. And the delay is about 3 seconds from when the person actually says something, which is about the same as a human captioner and a human translator. So it's really amazing that we were able to sort of get this far. And today marks actually the official launch of our beta. So yeah, we're pretty excited.
And from what I hear, you chose us to be the launch place of your beta. I'm really honored and impressed, and you're obviously touched in the head. So, you know, that's just one of those things.
I don't know about that. I think I was one of the first 50 to join the group, so I thought it would be appropriate,
That's
an appropriate
right.
place.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, we're delighted and honored. And so the idea is that not only are you going to be able to do captions for up to 100 languages, but 70 or so of those languages will actually be translated into the native tongue of whoever wants it. Now, I understand that there's one language that you have not yet added to this. And I'm wondering if there's any chance that you're going to be able to get Klingon into the mix at some point.
I will definitely ask the engineers if it's possible.
You're going to have to check on that. I mean, that could just be a game changer. I mean, you know, you never know when you're going to need somebody to translate into Klingon, or from Klingon for that matter. Goodness gracious. All right. Well, all kidding aside, this is amazing. This is amazing, and this is an app that's going to run on a PC. It's going to give me a little bit of the behind the scenes on this. Obviously, it's got to send the audio somewhere, and then the audio's got to have be stripped out and interpreted, and then that's got to be sent somewhere else. Tell me a little bit about that process.
Right. So I'll get into the weeds a little bit here, and the best way to think about it is kind of two distinct ways of looking at it. So first, we'll talk about the live stream itself. So in order to get the live stream working, all you do is you open up vMix, Livestream Studio, Wirecast, and you send us your RTMP feed. And then we give you back an embed code, which is the player, and you simply just embed that on your site, and that will have the captions and the audio translation right there in the player. And that's it. That's all you need to do. For the in-room audience, which are the ones that are actually physically attending in person, what you need to do is you need to send your audio through a browser. So that would be simply like capturing it with an audio capture, send it right into the browser, the same way you would do vMix call, basically the same way I'm connecting now. And then you just send that to us, and then we do all the captions and translations, and then we send you back a link that you just share with all the people in the room. So you might put it on the PowerPoint slides at the beginning, and someone just goes there on their phone, enters your event code, and then boom, they can hear the translations and read the captions. And just for clarity, so let's just say the presenter is speaking in English. You can have English captions in the app and on the live stream, and then you can have up to 100 different languages within those captions. So that's one aspect of the service. And then the other aspect is that of those 100 captions that you have, up to 75 of those supported languages can actually be read to you. So you don't even need to have your phone on. You could just have your headphones in, and the AI will read it to you. And I mean, it is staggering how impressive the voices are. It does not sound robotic at all. It really sounds like a human, and you can choose between a male or a female voice, so you have that option. I can tell you what we don't have right now is we don't have the ability to listen to a presenter in French or Danish or Spanish and translate that back to English, but it is coming.
Gotcha. So how many languages can you start with?
So you can start with English. Yeah, so English is the only presentation support right now, although that will change. But we do have 100 caption languages and 75 audio simultaneous interpretation languages, if you will.
Oh, goodness gracious. All right, so we've talked about it. Why don't we take a look at it? Shall we do that?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay.
Maybe I can give the preamble that what we're doing is really meta, because we're live streaming and then sending a live stream to the live stream, so we can run into some echoing issues.
Yes, and I was playing with this earlier, and amazingly, very impressed with it. And what I found out is that I've got about 30 seconds of language that I can speak. I can speak before the interpretation, well, before the captioning and the interpretation of the captioning kind of kicks back in and returns to me. There's about a 30-second latency on my end. So we'll be able to experiment with this for 30 seconds. And it's just the limitation of a demo. It just, a live demo like this, if we were doing it, a recorded version, maybe we could do it differently. So let me leave this chair for just a second, and I'm going to go back to the other chair and set that up. And so this is one of those demonstrations that wasn't really planned very well. And so as a result, we're just going to have to wing it. So y'all sit tight. I'll be right back, but I'm going to come to you from a different chair.
So just while Tom's doing that, I think you can all still hear me. I'm just going to answer maybe a couple questions in the YouTube chat here. So is this similar to the subtitle that Web Captioner does for free? It is somewhat similar. Our accuracy is better than theirs. But I think most importantly is that for the Web Captioner, it's a burn-in. So you always have the text on the screen. Whereas for us, it's not a burn-in. It's actually the user can select whether or not they want the captions on or off. So it can be toggled on or off, and they can change the caption language in real time. And the caption language can be different for every viewer that's watching. So it's kind of like Web Captioner on steroids, but it's sort of the same idea.
Okay. All right. What I'm going to do, Mike, if it's okay with you, is I'm going to share my Kastio demo page. So let's do one more thing. Let's just sharpen that up just a little bit before we share it. And we're gonna move that over here. And this is the demo page. The little characters, you and me, are about 30 seconds behind. And so why don't you coach me through getting this started?
Okay, so what you're seeing right now is the Kastio backend. On the left side, we have the live stream input, which Tom is actually just streaming from vMix. So the same way he's streaming to YouTube and Facebook, he's sending right here into Kastio. On the right side, you're going to see the actual live stream itself, or the in-room, which we're not using for this particular demo. So what Tom's doing is he's just sending the language, the audio from my speech, from his speech into here, and you'll see there's actually controls at the bottom there where we have closed captions and we have audio. So if Tom goes ahead and just starts the stream, that's in the top right there, you'll see a big start button. What it's going to do is it's going to start ingesting the audio that we have, what we're speaking right now, and it's going to send it to the servers. It's going to start processing it. It's going to start translating it, and then it's going to start feeding it back to the player. So this process takes about 20 to 30 seconds. And then Tom, I'll just have you go ahead and turn on the English captions there by hovering over the CC button and making sure that English captions are on. I believe as the default right now we have French as the language. So you might hear this is going to come in kind of fast and loose. This is not the ideal way to test this, but like as we said, it's a little bit meta. But here you go. You can kind of see some of the captions popping up on screen right now. And so this is basically just taking the text that I'm speaking right now and translating it and putting it up on screen. And then I'm not sure, Tom, if you're able to route the audio, but there should be some audio coming through, which would be the French. I think we have French and Italian and Arabic maybe set up for this particular demo. But of course, you can change that. You've got about 75 different languages to choose from. So you'll see the captions just come up on the screen. Tom can take them up and down as he wants. You as the watcher can do that too. And I believe we even have a link that you can go to where you can play with this yourself, because we're probably going to start getting a little bit of an echo if that audio is routed through. So you know what? I'll just go ahead and share that. Tom, is it okay if I share that link in the chat where they can go and view this?
Yes, by all
Okay.
means. By all means.
Okay. So there's a link in the YouTube chat right now, and if you click that, you'll actually see the same interface that Tom's showing, but you'll see the output of it. So it's just a basic page, but it has the player on it, and you'll be able to see the stream and actually play with that a little bit yourself.
I must have turned the audio off previously. Let me see if I can't get it back on again here.
So I just jumped over to the link myself, and I do see the captions there, and I can hear the audio being translated. So that should work for everybody. But we can just keep going, Tom, if you want.
Well, that's amazing. And, you know, the fact that it's not showing up here, or the audio's not showing up here, is really, in some ways, it's a good thing, because it means that it doesn't run over itself.
I think what's just happened, I think it's just a routing, perhaps a routing between here and vMix. You know, maybe there's something there. But we've got Emerald Coast here saying audio is good. So that's great. So at least we know it's working there. And so you'll see you can basically just switch between the languages, and the changeover only takes a couple seconds. So it's really quite amazing just to see how fast it can sort of process all of this data that's coming in, and the accuracy that it can do it as well. You know, I mean, let's be honest. It's not, the intention here is not to necessarily completely replace human beings. At least we're not quite there with the AI yet. I think probably in another 24 months, we can start to talk about that. But the fact is, because we can do this automated, we can do it at such a reduced cost than if you had to hire humans, you know, at $150, $200 an hour, plus the routing, plus you need, you know, the caption encoders. So it's such a streamlined way to make all this work.
Well, I'm having fun here. I just switched the audio to Italian, and I switched the text of the captioning to French. So let's switch the caption back to English, and it happens immediately. And then we'll switch to Arabic here on the language.
حاليا يمكننا القيام بذلك بتكلفة منخفضة مما لو كان عليك استئجار 150 $100 في الساعة بالإضافة إلى التوجيه زائد.
For some reason, the French must be muted on my system. Now, I understand that this is a beta, and so you guys are still getting it ready to roll it out. When do you anticipate rolling this out so that folks can have it?
It's definitely still a beta. We're still working through bugs. We really need your feedback on what you think is working and not. Assuming all goes well, because we've put a lot of time into this so far, we're hoping that in about 4 to 6 weeks, we'll have this puppy ready for launch.
Oh, that's amazing.
And I mean, the pricing is still to be worked out, but I can tell you right now that this is not going to be subscription based, and this is not going to, you're not going to need an annual plan or monthly plan on this. This is all going to be pay per use, which means that if you have an event and it's 2 hours long, you pay for the 2 hours. You don't pay for anything more. You don't have to be locked in any plans. That's just one of the really frustrating things I find about SaaS, and I don't necessarily subscribe to that. So the idea is it's just pay per use, because the reality is that we have event budgets that are different for every event, depending on what the client can afford and how many languages they need and how long the event is. And we quote our services based on that. If you have an 8-hour event, you're going to charge more than a 4-hour event, and the client's going to have a higher capacity to pay. And so the billing is going to be based on that. So it's just going to be metered billing. You turn it on and off whenever you want.
And so for folks that are currently using a live captioner, they're going to be able to replace that live captioner with this AI app, and basically their hourly rate's going to go down.
That's right. That's right.
And they're going to have
the our
ability,
goal.
Yeah, and now they've got as many languages as they choose, not only in captions but in translation as well. This is just astounding, Mike. This is astounding.
Yeah, it's quite cool. I mean, the mission for us is that we honestly believe that all events should be accessible. All events should have, like live events should have closed captioning. Like, can we get the price to be a point where it's just something that you include in all your services? Because now it's an add-on that separates you from the competition. Nobody else has that. except for you because you know about Kastio, and you can do it at a price that's so affordable. You can basically toss it in to your rate and win the bid just based on that. That's really kind of how we're positioning at least in our events here in Toronto, because the coolness factor and the fact that you can make it accessible for people who are hard of hearing is pretty amazing. It doesn't need to cost a lot to do that.
Right. Well, and I see almost the flip side of what you just said. I see that everybody's going to be doing this, and if you're not doing it, you're going to be left out. And so it's going to become the norm because it's so easy and accessible to be able to do it. It's a game changer.
For sure.
It's a game changer.
So let me just touch on a couple things that we don't have that we are working on, because I saw it come up in the chat.
Besides Klingon. Okay, I get it.
Besides Klingon, there currently is no way to record streams and record captions and record translations. So it's basically live and done right now. I mean, obviously, everything would be recorded through YouTube and Facebook and that. But it is something that we're working on. It is something that we plan on having come out in Q4 before 2019 ends. So it will record it. And what that will mean is that you will be able to play back an event with all of the captions in sync and all of the audio in sync, and it will all be there. And you'll be able to export a caption SRT file, a transcript file, and an MP3 file of each language that has been recorded. So all of that is in the works, and we will have coming out in the next few months.
That is just amazing. That is just amazing. We are... Believe it or not, we're almost out of time for the show, and that's good news, bad news. The bad news is, that it's the end of the show, but the good news is that we're going to have a little pre-show in here in just a minute. So if you've been making some comments in the chat, we would definitely like to see your comments and respond to any questions that you might have. And I think Mike's got an answer or two up his sleeve. If I am interested in being notified that this is available, Mike, is there something I can do?
There is. And in fact, today is the first day you could do that. So this is officially the beta launch today, and you've got the exclusive, Tom. But yes, if anybody wants to join up and play around with this, they can. You just need to go to app.kastio.com/register, and you can register yourself for free.
Okay, so let's see if we can get that in some text here real quickly. That's app.kastio.com. And what was the rest of it?
//register.
Register. Well, that was easy enough. Okay. And if I could spell, that would be dangerous, but hold on a second. Register. So we'll get that in a position that we can put it somewhere where everybody can see it. All right. Awesome. So impressed. Holy cow. It's not very often.
So
there we go.
I was just going to say to everyone that does register, if you want to play with this, what I suggest is take something that you've shot with a talking head in the past, send it, drop it into vMix, send it up through the RTMP, and then listen. You'll see it getting captioned, but listen to the audio, listen to the different voices that are there, listen to the translations. You can have 3 in the demo, so you can mix and match. You can create new events if you want. But I'm telling you, it is absolutely mind blowing how amazingly real the AI sounds.
Yeah, and for those of you that are continuing to listen on the link that Mike put in the chat, what do we have going now? Are we still on French, or did we move it back to? Yeah, we're back on French. It's English captioning with French language. Amazing. Okay, all right. Well, Mike, I hate to do this, but we're going to close out the show. We're going to move into the pre-show. We've got 1,001 comments already, including RJ over in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, that's already registered. No moss grows on that rock right there. So let's close out the show, and we're gonna. The closeout's going to be a little weird, so y'all just sit tight, hold on to something, because this is going to rock your world a little bit, because it's not going to go exactly as planned. Ready, set. That wasn't too bad. And we're out. All right, let's bring Mike back. Pay no attention to the fact that it says pre-show right there. We're in the post-show. And Mike, you've got access to the comments there, I think, in YouTube, don't you?
I do.
And let's bring those up here so folks here in the studio can see. Rich is really pressing. He wants to know, when is the full release date? Well, Rich, he's already answered that question. It's going to be a little while. Like what?
Yeah, let's say 4 to 6 weeks, Rich. Yeah, 4 to 6 weeks, I think is safe to say. I mean, the more feedback that we get, the better. We're trying to find bugs. We're trying to find things to fix. I can tell you right now that the captioning and the quality, the accuracy won't change much in the next 6 weeks. We're kind of at peak for that. But what we are working on is scale, obviously. Like, how can we be able to roll this out, spin up multiple servers all in real time? So you can get out to the widest audience possible. We're finishing our integrations with Akamai, of course. So things like that, we're still working on. Yeah.
Well, Rick is now registered, and Rudy is now registered, and Ed says, we hope we don't crash your servers. So,
I hope so too.
You never know when you come on Streaming Idiots exactly what's going to happen. Looking back, Richard Gutarsky asks, what speech-to-text engine are you using? Is that something you can share with us, or is that under wraps?
So we actually use a combined engine between Amazon and Microsoft and Google. So we've written our own basically backend in order to take those, cross-reference them in real time and combine them. So there's a lot going on under the hood in order to make this work.
Gotcha. Somebody watching called the Grumpy Vlogger would like to know, will it interpret Aussie to American English? I could use that because I can't understand those Australians. I tell you what, they say it's English, but it's not really.
It actually, I mean, it does a really good job with accents, which is another thing I suggest you test, is like run a video where someone has a thick accent into it and see how it does.
Uh-huh. Well, it was doing pretty well with my southern accent earlier, so I was pretty impressed. Rich, who is out in California and does a lot of jet ski racing. In fact, Rich was our 2018 live streamer of the year on Streaming Idiots. He says that he has Polish, Swedish, and Mexican athletes signed up for his events, and this would work perfectly because their families and friends back home would want to hear what's going on in their native language. Marie, who is in Sweden, she's actually a Dane living in Sweden. She and her husband John are the ones that started the Streaming Idiots group, and they, believe it or not, do a lot of roller derby, and where there are folks from different countries represented, and it sure would work well for them. Looks like Dan Slider has registered for it, so we're up to 3 or 4 now. Frank B is asking, all church streamers like me will need this service. Will the software be able to handle Bible terminology? Well, I can't even handle Bible terminology. I don't, some of those cities and names in the Old Testament are a little rough. What are you going to do about things you don't recognize?
So here's what I'd say about that. If the word is in the dictionary, then it would be covered by the AI. And the thing about the AI is it's getting smarter every day, right? There's so many millions of inputs that are going into it, so we'll always get better. The other thing I will say is that where AI generally falls short, where human captioners are better, is with respect to proper names, or if you're doing a medical live stream, like maybe it's drug names, those things are often quite tough. What we have integrated is a phrase hints, which basically allows you to tell the AI, hey, if you're not sure what this is, but you think it sounds like this, then spell it like this, which is a really great way to add in proper names. So you can go into the interface ahead of time and say, Tom Sinclair's name is spelled like this. And then if the AI is not sure how to say that, it'll actually look at the phrase hints and go, oh, you mean to spell it like that? Okay, we'll do that. So that's something that we're continually working on and developing as well. But for something like a jargon or something in the Bible that's specific, you can always add that in ahead of time if you know it's going to be in the presentation.
Gotcha. All right, so let me make sure I've got this straight. So this is going to be a live captioning and live translating app, and it's going to embed it into my live stream. so that it is now a part of my live stream. It's not going to create a separate file, a separate transcript, if you will, of its translation. It's going to be embedded right there in my live stream forever and ever. Amen. I bet you're going to get 100,000 requests to get a transcript.
Yes, and so transcripts are going to be coming. They're going to be part of it. And obviously we're taking in all that text data, and so we're going to be able to give you a transcript that you can download it as a text file, but then also an SRT file that you can download if you want to put it to another service. And we are working on right now, I can sort of tell you as well, the ability to be able to embed captions into other platforms. So as long as the platform supports the CEA 608 format, then we'll be able to send that out with the stream so that you could send that to another platform. But that's still a work in progress as well.
Okay. Well, El Paso County CO is asking, will it support CEA 708 captions?
I'm not sure about 708 yet. I'll have to check with engineers, but I know we are working right now on 608 to get that going.
Okay. So if 708 is an upgrade to 608, at some point you guys will be, of course, if it's an upgrade, of course you're going to be doing it.
I can tell you that we're obsessive about getting these new features out. Like it's all going to happen over the next 3 to 6 months. So it's pretty exciting.
Here's a question that I can answer. Rich is asking, he said, I've searched YouTube and the web and there are not many examples. Do you have examples somewhere? Rich, he's just releasing it today.
Today's the day.
It's like it's not out there because it's not out there yet. There you go. Yeah. Now Tim is asking, how is this going to work with YouTube, where YouTube is going to come back in and put closed captioning on something too? Is it just going to end up with a closed caption over a closed caption, you think?
So just to clarify, there's two kind of captions. There's open captions and closed captions. And what we're doing here is closed captions, which means you have a file that you could download from Kastio, which would be an SRT file. And then you would upload that to YouTube. And so YouTube would not put its own captions on top of it because you uploaded a file.
Gotcha.
But now might be a good time to mention about open captions. What if you're in the venue and you're live streaming it and the AV company, the client wants to put the captions up on the big screens? They want to do IMAG, right? You're already sending maybe your camera to IMAG, you're sending the slides to IMAG, they want the captions as well. Well, you can do that too. So what you actually have in the app is a chroma, which is basically like a green background, similar to web captioner if you've used it before. And you've got the captions on the bottom and you can actually pull that in and you can just key out the green and then you can put the captions right on the screen. So that's included as well. That's exactly what it is. That's what it looks like. So you just key out the green and then you've got the captions there right at the bottom. And that way you can send that through your video switcher or your vMix or your Blackmagic, whatever you're doing, you can put that right up on the screen.
Amazing. 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 Oh my goodness. So El Paso County is saying that 608 is analog and 708 is HD. So my guess is, there may be a migration path you guys are going to look at there. Rich says he's impatient. Byron says, so you do get a file. And Cameron says, oh golly, Cameron says, can you embed both standards simultaneously? Does that make sense to you?
I think he's talking about 608 and 708 at the same time. And when we release it, will only be 608. We still have to figure out the conversions to go to 708. So it won't be at launch. And yeah.
Well, that's okay because he's already registered for it too. All right. So.
And Richard, just to your point, your question around examples, my suggestion is like to go into the app and just run, just battle test it. Run whatever the crazy stuff that you've recorded. Run it through and see how it does with it.
Well, we're gonna be. I think we've run through our time. Yeah, we've run through all the time that we had. I think you got a 30-minute trial? Is that what it works out to be when you register?
It's a 30-minute trial right now, just simply because we incur a cost for all of this, so we've just limited just so that there's no abuse. But if you just message me using the link that's in the lower right of the thing, I'll re-up your trial at any point. So happy to reset your trial back to 30, back to 30, back to 30 as many times as you need. It's really just more because if a bot or a spammer joins and they just leave it on running, that'd be really expensive.
I get it. You're not a charity. Yep. I understand. Well, man, I could keep you all day and talk about this a ton more, and I know folks would like to get in and have you tell every detail about it. But we need to let you get back to work so you can get this beta into a release version. I mean, heck, Fire, time's a wasting, dude. Go back, get out of here. Go back to work.
Well, thanks for having me, Tom. I really appreciate it.
Well, it's been a treat, and maybe, we can't have you back in 4 to 6 weeks. Well, heck, we can have you back in 4 to 6 weeks. Why not? When you're ready to release it, if you want to come on, or maybe after you've released it, and you can share some of the war stories of folks that are using it and brag on yourself. Absolutely, I'd love to have you back on. This has been a lot of fun.
Sure, that'd be great. And please, kick the tires on this, beat it up. We want to know where and if it falls short anywhere. We spent a lot of time on this, but your feedback is really what's going to make it better. So we appreciate it.
Well, you have opened the floodgates on that one. You're going to get feedback from RJ and Rich and Byron and Tim and Richard and a bunch of these other folks. They're going to say, well, we like this, but we want it to turn green. We like this, but we want it to be upside down. And yeah, you get the crazies out there. We've got plenty of crazies here. Shoo whiz. All right, my friend. Well, we're going to log off today, but thank you so much for spending time with me today on Streaming Idiots and sharing this great new thing, this Kastio thing that you've got that's going to revolutionize communications in the world. It's kind of like a reverse Tower of Babel, and so everybody's going to be able to understand everybody else, and that's not always a bad thing. All right. And Rich said he got his wireless cable today. So Rich, that's great. I mean, Ken, that's great. Mike, thanks so much. We're going to close out the stream and the broadcast now, but we'll be expecting great things from you in the future. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.